All right, testing, 1, 2, 3. I think that I am successfully online. Give me a second here, guys. All right, testing, 1, 2, 3. It looks like we are successfully online here. One watching. Let's wait till we get a couple more viewers before we start talking about what I want to talk about today. Waiting for a couple more viewers here, and then we'll start to get this baby going. Got a couple things that I really definitely have to talk about today. Let's try and get at least 5 viewers here. I'm gonna throw something out on my Twitter. 1 second. One 1 second. Looks like no one is looks like no one's joined yet, but for those of you that are here, gonna spend about the next 30 minutes talking about the Kevin Harvick comments. I'm gonna talk about the Kevin Harvick comments about Dal Jr. and why I 100% agree with Kevin Harvick. 100% agree with Kevin Harvick on these comments about Dal Jr. Any questions you guys want me to answer, drop them in the chat and I will answer any questions. I'm going to talk about the Kevin Harvick comments. I'll talk about Michigan coming up, and then we'll start talking about your questions. So drop your questions in the chat below, and we will get them answered. If you are in the chat, if you are watching right now, please let me know in the chat. If you can successfully hear me. We had a couple people here, a couple just left, but I want to talk about these Kevin Harvick comments. I 100% agree with Kevin Harvick about what he has to say about Dal Jr. I know a lot of the Dal Jr. fans, Junior Nation, usually get mad at me when I talk about Dal Jr. because I don't usually have positive things to say about him. But I 100% agree with Kevin Harvick. Give me 1 second here. Again, any questions, any comments, drop them in the chat. Michigan is coming up. Should be an interesting race. Really cool to see that Kyle Larson is being allowed by Chip Ganassi to run the Knoxville Nationals, which the Knoxville Nationals is like the Daytona 500 of sprint car racing. So really cool to see Kyle Larson is being allowed to run that. He's going to be there tomorrow, and then he's going to run Michigan Sunday, where he has won Michigan twice. The only track in the Cup Series that Kyle Larson has won at. Kyle Larson, of course, winning at Michigan. Give me one more second here. Waiting for a couple more people to pop up. Would like to see a couple more people pop up before I really start getting into this. If not, we'll probably talk about some random BS, some random happenings, and then we'll get into it. Yeah. So let me know if the audio is good. Again, if the audio is good, let me know. Anyone who wants to join the stream, if you have a microphone, if you want to join the stream, I can add you into the Google Hangout so we can get maybe a little bit of a NASCAR debate going on. Okay, so we got Nicholas Steiner saying audio is good. What's up, Nick? What's going on, man? Good to see you here. Good to see you here. So the big topic of this video is Kevin Harvick and Dale Jr. Oh, my buddy Redneck Gamers. What's going on, Redneck Gamers? Give me a second, guys. Give me a second. Gotta let the cat out. Give me a second. What's going on, Redneck Gamers? What's going on? Yeah, Kane got kicked out of Hendrick. Fuck yeah. You have no idea. You have no idea how happy I was that Casey Kane got kicked out of Hendrick. And it's not that I hate Casey Kane, but it's about time Rick Hendrick grew some fucking balls and kicked Casey Kane out. Casey Kane, no, I understand Casey Kane won the Brickyard 400. I understand Casey Kane won the Brickyard 400. But with all that being said, Casey Kane has underperformed in that 5 car. You're talking about Hendrick Motorsports, 7 championships with Jimmy Johnson, 4 championships with Jeff Gordon. And you're going to tell me that Casey Kane is going to go multiple years? Not only did he go multiple years with not winning, he went multiple years with being irrelevant. On top of that, Casey Kane lost his sponsorship with Great Clips, and sponsorship was going to be hard. It was going to be hard to keep sponsorship for Casey Kane, and it was going to be hard to keep Casey Kane when you're just underperforming. So, Casey Kane's going to make the chase. I don't expect much out of him. He won the Brickyard 400, which honestly I was shocked. I think I made a video about it, or I talked about it in the last stream. I was shocked, really shocked about that. But yeah, and what Nicholas Steiner is saying, Terry Labonte won a championship in that 5 car. Casey Kane, and I saw an interview with Jeff Gluck. I know a lot of you guys know who Jeff Gluck is from Twitter. Casey Kane talked about in his interview. He loves racing. He owns a dirt car. He owns a sprint car team in the World of Outlaws. But for whatever reason he struggles to find happiness. And I think that's a little bit of where Casey Kane struggles in that 5 car, because he struggles to find happiness. And I just don't think he has the leadership qualities that is needed to win at the top level. But you're talking about Hendrick Motorsports, one of the most historically successful race teams in the history of auto racing. You have sponsorship, you have a top car, and you suck. You're horrible. I just don't think that Rick Hendrick could have kept Casey Kane any longer. And I had said it for the last 2 to 3 years. Rick Hendrick needs to grow a set of fucking balls and kick Casey Kane to the wayside. And when he did, I fucking cheered and cheered and cheered. Get Casey Kane the fuck out of that 5 car. We can talk about where Casey Kane will go, because I still think Casey Kane is a solid addition to any team. But I just don't think Hendrick Motorsports is the right place for him, because when you're driving for Hendrick Motorsports, you either win or you get the fuck out. You either win or you get the fuck out. Hendrick Motorsports is an organization that is built to win championships and win races. And if you don't do that, you need to get out and find another team. Go run for a team that's going to be okay with you running 20th. Go run for a team that's going to be okay with you running 15th. But Hendrick Motorsports needs to win races and needs to win championships. They are not in a situation where running 10th is okay. You need to win races or you need to get out, because you have this talent coming up. And is the question is William Byron ready? Is William Byron being rushed? And I know Redneck Gamers thinks William Byron is being rushed. If you had asked me in the beginning of the season, I would have said I'd like to see William Byron run maybe 2 years with Junior Motorsports. But here's the thing. And here's the big thing. William Byron entered the K&N Series. He won. William Byron entered the Truck Series. He won. William Byron entered the Xfinity Series. He won. Why keep William Byron in the Xfinity Series for 2 years when he could just move up to the Cup Series? Because here's the thing. The Xfinity Series cars are so different than the Cup Series cars. That's why we saw Bubba Wallace jump into that 43 at Pocono and struggle on pit road so much. The Xfinity Series cars are so much different. There's no digital dash. The Xfinity Series cars have no digital dash, and they're so different. Why would you waste another year letting William Byron get comfortable in in an Xfinity Series car that is so much different than the Cup Series. Let William Byron enter the Cup Series, because the more years William Byron has being mentored by Jimmy Johnson are more years of success for William Byron. So I just think that it may seem like he's being rushed, but he's winning more races than Chase Elliott won. He's winning more races than all these other guys have won. And if you ask me, just from raw footage and being a raw race fan, William Byron, even if he doesn't win the championship this year, William Byron looks better at Junior Motorsports than Chase Elliott looked. And Chase Elliott's been solid. But William Byron looks better at Junior Motorsports than Chase Elliott looked when Chase Elliott was coming up into the Cup Series. And JMC M20, he's a fast learner. William Byron is a fucking incredible learner. I've never seen any driver in the history of this sport, whether it's Daniel Suarez, you could argue that too with Daniel Suarez. But William Byron started on iRacing. We all know what iRacing is. William Byron started on a video game. He doesn't really have that much experience. To start your racing career driving on a video game and turning that into now driving for one of the most historical teams in the history of auto racing, it blows my mind. And you can talk about Eric Jones, you can talk about Daniel Suarez, you can talk about Chase Elliott, but no one has found success in NASCAR this quick, faster than William Byron. And, you know, it's just, I don't see why you wouldn't bring him up into the Cup Series. I was watching NASCAR America on NBCSN a couple days ago, and Kyle Petty was talking about how in the old days, drivers didn't get their opportunity until they were more matured. They didn't get their opportunity until they were 25, 26. Some of these guys, Dale Earnhardt was in his late 20s when he got his ride, Dale Earnhardt Sr. But nowadays, with simulations and technology and all this other stuff, with the Truck Series and the Xfinity Series, guys they just adapt, and you're seeing it with guys like William Byron. You're seeing it with guys like Ryan Blaney. Ryan Blaney, an incredibly fast learner too. Couple seasons in the Truck Series, never ran full time at all in the Xfinity Series, and he's already won a race in the NASCAR Cup Series, the hardest level of racing in the world. So if you ask me, William Byron, I think he's ready. Never seen anyone learn as fast as William Byron. And I got to tell you one thing. I was never a huge fan of Hendrick Motorsports. And Nicholas Steiner's got to go. But we'll be here for a little bit. We'll be here till at least probably 5 o'clock. So stop on by. We'll be here waiting for you. But I never really rooted for Hendrick Motorsports because, as you guys know, I hated Jeff Gordon. Never liked Casey Kane. Never was a fan of Dale Earnhardt Jr. But I always liked Jimmy Johnson because, in my mind, the things I saw Jimmy Johnson do, none of us will ever see Jimmy Johnson. None of us will ever see any driver in the history of auto racing do what Jimmy Johnson was able to fucking do. Okay, that's just the bottom line. So what it comes down to is, I can finally start rooting for Hendrick Motorsports because I like Alex Bowman. I like William Byron. Jimmy Johnson is the greatest driver of all time. And you know what? I'm not the biggest Chase Elliott fan, but you know what? I will root for Chase Elliott because I want to see him do well. What's up? My buddy Brent Tannick is in here. Go check out Brent Tannick. Go check out the 3 Wide podcast. Dude's a fucking legend. He knows a lot about racing. Eric Sharkey, who do you think will win the championship this year? Well, all eyes are pointed towards Martin Truex Jr. right now. And you guys put in the chat, who do you think will win the championship this year? But right now, all eyes are pointed towards Martin Truex Jr. How can you go against Martin Truex Jr.? You just can't. But if you ask me, the final four right now is going to be Martin Truex Jr., Kyle Larson, Jimmy Johnson, and Brad Keselowski. And if you ask me, as of right now, I'm going with Jimmy Johnson to win the 2017 NASCAR Cup Series champion. Oh, what's up, Joe Torres? Joe Torres is in the chat. What's going on, Joe? What's going on? Excited for NASCAR Heat Evolution too? But yeah, I and let me know who you guys think is going to win the championship this year. But I was at Watkins Glen. I was at Watkins Glen on Sunday, and Martin Truex Jr. won again. And I want to see Jimmy Johnson win the championship, or I want to see Brad Keselowski because I like Jimmy Johnson. I like Brad Keselowski. Wouldn't mind seeing Kyle Larson get it. I can't stand Martin Truex Jr. for a couple of different reasons. I've gotten into it on my channel before. I cannot stand Martin Truex Jr. But the bottom line is, all eyes right now are pointed towards Martin Truex Jr. He's dominated all year long. We're not talking about a guy who just has a couple of wins. We're talking about a guy who has wins, and on the races he hasn't won, he's been in contention to win. Brent Tannick's final four: Truex, Larson, Johnson, Keselowski. Johnson winning the title. Okay, so we're thinking alike. We're both partners on the Three Wide podcast. We're both thinking alike. But that's what I'm saying, man. Martin Truex Jr. has been so good, but I just think something's going to go wrong. He's in that alliance with Joe Gibbs Racing, but he's all the way out there in Denver, Colorado. I just think at some point in that chase, whether it's somewhere at Talladega or Phoenix, I just think something's going to happen. He's going to, with all the playoff points he has right now, he's almost a sure lock to get into the race at Miami. But I just think somewhere along the lines in that Miami race, something's going to happen, whether it's a pit crew malfunction, whether it's a loose lug nut. I just think something's going to happen, and we're going to see Jimmy Johnson or Brad Keselowski or maybe even a guy like a Kyle Larson take that race under their wing and win that championship. I can't stand Truex Jr. either. Yeah, I can't stand Truex Jr. for so many reasons. I don't need to get into it right now, but I just can't stand Martin Truex Jr. I can't stand the fact that every time he wins a race, we have to see his fucking wife. I understand, not wife, but his girlfriend. I understand she's sick and whatever. I can't. And then they're all the way out in Denver. Fuck Denver. I just don't like Martin Truex Jr. Never liked Martin Truex Jr. Never will. Do the playoff points count at Homestead to win the championship? No, the playoff points count all the way up into Homestead, and then once you get to Homestead, all four drivers are on equal playing ground. So Martin Truex Jr. will have his playoff points all the way until Miami, but once he gets to Miami, he goes back to zero, and he will be equal with the three other drivers that are there with him. So that's what I'm saying. No matter how good he is today, no matter how good he is this weekend at Michigan, if he gets to Miami, there's going to be three other drivers hunting him down, and everyone's going to be equal. Looking back at statistics, Johnson has the best average finish of the four and the best crew. That's why he's my choice for the title of the four. You can't argue that. You just cannot argue that. And you know what? People last year, if you guys remember, Jimmy Johnson started off hot. Then he got real cold. And you could watch NASCAR Race Hub. You could watch NASCAR America on NBCSN. Everyone was putting Jimmy Johnson down. What's wrong with him? Is it because of his age? Well, why is he in this slump? Is Jimmy Johnson going to get out of this slump? They talk about this every fucking year, and then he goes to Homestead and wins the championship. Greatest driver of all time. I don't care what anybody says. I, right now, cannot go against Jimmy Johnson. I cannot go against Jimmy Johnson. I bought a Jimmy Johnson hat at Dover, and I've been wearing that all season long. Jimmy Johnson, greatest driver of all time, in my opinion. Redneck Gamers, Final Four: Johnson, Truex, Larson, and Stenhouse. I don't see Stenhouse getting out of the first round. I do not see Ricky Stenhouse Jr. getting out of the first round. I agree with Johnson, Truex, and Larson, but I put Brad Keselowski in. You can't put Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. he started off the season okay. He was getting top 10s, top 15s, maybe a couple top 5s. Won at Talladega, okay? Won at Daytona. But outside of that, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. hasn't done much of anything. Been with the way he started this season, winning at Talladega in the spring, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. has been very disappointing, at least as far as I'm concerned. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. has been extremely disappointing. And Talladega is in the third round. Or is it second or third round? Either way, Talladega isn't in the first round. I don't see Ricky Stenhouse Jr. getting out of that first round. He's never been good at Dover. He's never been good at Chicagoland. He's never been good at New Hampshire. And you're going to struggle in that first round. He doesn't have really that many playoff points. He's only got 10 playoff points because you get 5 for each win. But outside of that, he hasn't done much. I don't think Ricky Stenhouse Jr. gets out of the first round. JMCM20, my final 4. Jimmy Johnson, okay. Kyle Larson, Truex, and Kyle Busch. I hate Busch, but he runs up front of every race. You know, I can't argue that. I can't argue that either. Kyle Busch has been very good this year. Kyle Busch didn't win until Pocono, which, again, I was at that race, and I was booing the fuck out of Kyle Busch. But Kyle Busch has been very good. His crew chief makes me sick. Kyle Busch's crew chief makes me sick. Kyle Busch makes me sick. Joe Gibbs Racing makes me sick. But you can't argue Kyle Busch being in the Final Four. There's no argument to that whatsoever. Redneck Gamers, if Ricky Stenhouse Jr. can make it to the second round, he can win at Talladega, and he's good in Martinsville in Texas. Yeah, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is very good in Martinsville. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is great at Talladega. He's okay at Texas. But I don't see Ricky Stenhouse Jr. getting out of that first round. Because you look at the playoff standings right now, who would he be beating out? He's not going to beat out some of these guys. Austin Dillon's going to get out of that first round. There's no doubt in my mind Austin Dillon isn't going to make it. No doubt in my mind Casey Kane's not going to make it. But he's still got to beat a couple other guys to get into that second round. I just don't see it. I really just don't see it. Brent Tannick, one thing Kyle Busch is over Jimmy Johnson is consistency. You know what? That is the truth. But last year, if you remember, Jimmy Johnson had a long stretch in the season, a very long stretch in the season, where he was not consistent whatsoever. He would look bad. He looked lackluster. And then he came out and won the championship. So consistent, not consistent. He's got wins. He's locked into the playoffs. There's no doubt in my mind that when it's all said and done, 15 other drivers are going to have to get through Jimmy Johnson if you're going to want to win that championship. You're going to have to get through Jimmy Johnson. You're also going to have to get through Martin Truex Jr. You're also going to have to get through Brad Keselowski and Kyle Larson. But when it's all said and done, you do not want to be up against Jimmy Johnson in Miami. If Jimmy Johnson makes it to Miami, there's going to be 3 drivers that are shaking in their shoes because they have to go up against the greatest driver of all time. Joe Torres, who do you think will be a spoiler to make the Final Four? Wow, that's a good one. Who do I think will be a spoiler to make the Final Four? You know what? I'm going to go Denny Hamlin. As a spoiler to make the Final Four, I'm going to go Denny Hamlin. I think as of late, Joe Gibbs Racing has been coming on strong. We're just 4 weeks away from the playoffs. Denny Hamlin has been in that Final Four before. I wouldn't be shocked if I see Denny Hamlin go on a run. But you know who else to keep your eye out for? And Joe is going to like this answer. Keep your eye out for Kevin Harvick. Because you know what? He hasn't had that good a season. Kevin Harvick has not had that good a season. But Kevin Harvick is another one of those drivers that just finds a way to get the job done when the job needs to be done. I would not be surprised if Kevin Harvick goes on a run. Now, Stewart-Haas Racing has not been that good this year. They came out strong. Kurt Busch won the Daytona 500, obviously. Then Kevin Harvick dominated. Kevin Harvick dominated at Atlanta. And, of course, he had that late speeding penalty, and then my man Brad Keselowski ended up winning the race. But Kevin Harvick, would not be surprised to see Kevin Harvick do some serious fucking damage when the playoffs start. So those would be, I guess, two spoilers. I wouldn't really consider Kevin Harvick a spoiler because he's on a lot of people's radars. But if I had to choose a spoiler, I would go with Denny Hamlin. I really think Denny Hamlin could go on a tear. He's phenomenal in Martinsville. I mean, Denny Hamlin, probably the best driver at Martinsville. I think he'll get through the first round. I think he can win at Martinsville. He's won at Talladega before. Keep your eye out for definitely keep your eye out for Denny Hamlin. Jeff the Pelican, I can't hear. Anyone else having audio troubles? Anyone else having audio trouble? Jeff the Pelican's having trouble hearing. Redneck Gamers, Newman almost won in 2014 if Harvick wouldn't have won the race. Yeah, you know what? And I was cheering my ass off for Ryan Newman. I really, really was cheering my ass off for Ryan Newman. But Kevin Harvick ended up winning. I got respect for Kevin Harvick. A lot of people don't think I got respect for Kevin Harvick because of some of the things I've said in the past, but I got respect for Kevin Harvick. You know, these guys, Kevin Harvick, Matt Kenseth, Kyle Busch, these guys I've shit talked before. They're phenomenal race car drivers. So, you know, it is what it is. Let's see. Got a lot of comments coming in. Brent Tannick. Here's one of the non-winners and drivers on the bubble. Make it in. My three is Kenseth, Elliott, and McMurray. That's a tough question. That is a really, really tough question because you have a couple of guys who could still win. And put in the chat, who do you think will win? Which non-winner this year will win? And you could throw Joey Logano in there, but I still have hope for my favorite driver that Joey Logano will get a win, whether it's at Michigan, whether it's at Bristol, Darlington, or Richmond. Could Joey Logano go back to Richmond in the last race of the regular season and say, you know what? You encumbered my win at Richmond in the spring. I'm going to go back to Richmond and say, fuck you to everyone who encumbered my win because I'm going to go win. And you know what? That could be a possibility. Joey Logano could easily win. Clint Bowyer could win. So if you're talking about Joey Logano and Clint Bowyer winning, well, then you're going to have to knock out Matt Kenseth and Jamie McMurray. I still think we're going to see one driver that hasn't locked himself into the playoffs win a race and lock himself in. Could it be Clint Bowyer? Could it be Joey Logano? Could we see someone like Daniel Suarez, who got a second-place finish at Watkins Glen? Could we see someone like Daniel Suarez, who has won at Michigan in the Xfinity Series? Could Daniel Suarez be a spoiler to win this weekend at Michigan? Could we see Daniel Suarez be a spoiler to win this weekend at Michigan? That would be interesting. But if we get no more winners in 2017, then I agree with Brent Tannick that it's gonna be Jamie McMurray, Matt Kenseth, and Chase Elliott, because Clint Bowyer, he's looked good lately, but every race Clint Bowyer has where he looks good, he looks like he's gonna have a solid points day, Matt Kenseth finds a way to finish better. Clint Bowyer finishes third. Matt Kenseth finishes second. Clint Bowyer finishes fifth. Matt Kenseth finishes fourth. Clint Bowyer, Joey Logano, they got to go for wins at this point. They have to go for wins. Brent Tannick, if a non-winner gets in with a win, it would be Logano. But that is it. I think we may have one more new winner, but the other spots will be in on points. Yep. You know what? I still think we have one more winner. Could be Matt Kenseth. Could be Clint Bowyer. Could be Joey Logano. Could be some sort of spoiler like Daniel Suarez. Could be some sort of spoiler like Eric Jones. Some of these rookies out there. Let me go back up to the comments and let's see. 1 second here. Let me look at some of these comments. There was one I definitely wanted to read. Joe Torres, what happened to Logano? He lost so much speed. It's been killing me all season, Joe. And you know me as well as anybody. You know I'm a huge Joey Logano fan. This season has absolutely been killing me. Just absolutely been killing me. Team Penske came out strong. Brad Keselowski wins the second race of the season. Ryan Blaney had a shot to win the Daytona 500. A couple weeks later, Joey Logano wins at Richmond. Then they encumber it, which you could argue the inconsistency of NASCAR encumbering Joey Logano's win. You could argue that. You could really, really, really argue that the inconsistency of NASCAR coming down, penalizing Joey Logano in that 22 team. But the thing that bothers me the most is that something happened to that team. Something happened to that team. Todd Gordon gets the suspension. Joey Logano and that team, they lose their win. But something happened. No one knows what it is. I was watching NASCAR Race Hub. Larry McReynolds was trying to break it down. Something happened to that team after Richmond. They have lost speed. He's gone to places like Watkins Glen, where he has been dominant, where he has been a phenomenal race car driver, and looked bad. I mean, just looked bad. I don't know what's wrong with that team, but the good news is Ryan Blaney, who's a Penske Alliance car, won at Pocono recently. Brad Keselowski's starting to gain his speed back. So with 4 weeks left, you're talking Michigan, you're talking Bristol, you're talking Darlington, and you're talking Richmond. Joey Logano in the past, in previous seasons, has been very good at Michigan, has been very good at Bristol, and has been phenomenal at Richmond. 3 of the 4 races Joey Logano could win at. So I'm still holding back hope. But you know what? If Joey Logano doesn't make it in the chase, I'm going to be very heartbroken, but I'm going to have to just go full throttle for Brad Keselowski. Just going to have to go full throttle for Brad Keselowski. NASCAR 222. Do you get annoyed when it's Larson, Truex, and Busch top 3 every race? I don't know, man. I've said it before, and I've said it in the past. I'm an old school race car fan. I'm an old school NASCAR fan. I want to see the best car win the championship. I want to see the best car win the championship. If that happens to be Martin Truex Jr., I'll be fucking pissed. I'll get on this channel and I'll rage and I'll rage and I'll rage. I'll throw all the fits I can throw. But if Martin Truex Jr. is legitimately the best race car driver, I want to see him win the championship. That's just the way it is. And I don't want to see him win the championship, but I want to see the best NASCAR driver win the championship. And you know what? It's annoying. I was at Watkins Glen. I was at Pocono. I was at all these races. I was at Pocono where Kyle Busch dominated the whole time and ended up winning. Then I went to Watkins Glen the following week, and I saw Truex Jr. dominate and Truex Jr. win the Watkins Glen race. It's annoying, man. It is fucking annoying to see drivers that I can't stand. I cannot stand Martin Truex Jr. I hate the living hell out of Martin Truex Jr. I hate the living hell out of Kyle Busch. And they're dominating every race. And he asked about Kyle Larson, too. Kyle Larson's lost something. If you remember, Kyle Larson got a penalty from pre-race tech inspection. His crew chief, Chad Johnson, was penalized. Kyle Larson was penalized. And similar to what happened to Joey Logano after Todd Gordon and Joey were suspended, Kyle Larson has lost speed. Kyle Larson went from being a legitimate contender every race to not being a legitimate contender. And it happened after that week. I can't remember what week it was, but it happened after that week that Chad Johnson, Kyle Larson's crew chief, and Kyle Larson were penalized for having too many pre-race inspection failures. Too many pre-race inspections failures. This is why I love the playoff format. The unknown factor brings an excitement that we didn't have before in the chase. I agree with that. Again, I'm an old school race fan. Everyone on this channel should know that by now. I'm an old school race fan. I don't like playoffs. I don't like the chase. But the thing that creates excitement about these playoffs is that there's so many unknowns. There's so many unknowns. Martin Truex Jr. has led all season long. Martin Truex Jr., if this was 1995 or this was 1987, Martin Truex Jr. would not only be leading the championship, but he would be leading by so many points, no one would even have a close chance. But because of the playoff system, Martin Truex Jr. is very highly likely to get to Miami and be in that Final Four. But his All his points and everything he's done prior to Miami goes back to zero. And there's going to be 3 other drivers. Could be Jimmy Johnson, could be Kevin Harvick, could be Kyle Busch. Experienced, talented drivers that are going to be coming from Martin Truex Jr. And if Martin Truex Jr. and his team, his pit crew, his crew chief aren't on the A-ball, everything he did in 2017, all his domination goes into the trash can because you could be looking at Kevin Harvick now being the champion. So that is what that is why NASCAR implemented this playoff system. And you know what? I'm an old school race fan. I'm never going to give up the fact that I don't like the chase. I don't like the playoffs, but the unknown does create drama for TV. Let's see. Roush Fenway Racing sucks in general. Definitely not what they were 10 years ago. 100% agree with that. 100% agree with that. If you were a new NASCAR race fan, you didn't watch in the 90s, you didn't watch in the 80s, you didn't watch in the early 2000s, you would not know that Roush Fenway Racing is the most winningest team in the history of NASCAR. Let that sink in. Let that sink in for a second. Roush Fenway Racing is the most successful team in the history of NASCAR. Though if you were a new race fan, if you've only been watching this sport for the last 3 to 4 years, you would not know that. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. goes out, he wins Talladega. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. goes out, he wins Daytona. But Roush Fenway Racing is still a pile of garbage. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is not going to do any sort of damage whatsoever in the playoffs. Trevor Bayne is as bad as Trevor Bayne has always been. And you know what? Roush Fenway Racing fucked over Bubba Wallace. Roush Fenway Racing fucked over Chris Buescher. And you know what? A big fuck you to Roush Fenway Racing was when Chris Buescher won Roush Fenway Racing a championship in the Xfinity Series. The last little bit of success that Roush Fenway Racing will probably ever have is Chris Buescher winning that championship in the Xfinity Series. But then they say, you know what, Chris? You won us a championship. And I say this because I fucking love Chris Buescher. I've said it before. I fucking love everything about Chris Buescher. Okay? But Roush Fenway Racing said, you know what, Chris? You won us an Xfinity Series championship. But you're not going to get my equipment. I'm sending your ass to front row racing. Thanks for winning me a championship, Chris Buescher, but you're not good enough for my team. You're not good enough for my team, so I'm going to send you to front row racing. So Roush Fenway Racing has a horrible season. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is garbage. Trevor Bayne is garbage. But you know what happens? Chris Buescher goes out and wins at Pocono for front row racing and says, you know what, Jack Roush? Fuck you. I won a championship for you. You threw my ass into the garbage can after winning a championship for you. And then I go out and win a race when your 2 drivers don't. Big fuck you to Jack Roush. Big fuck you to Jack Roush. Remington 884824. I subscribe. Thanks so much for subscribing, Remington. Good to have you around here. Let's see. Looking at some of these comments here. I haven't gotten into the topic I wanted to talk about yet, but let me answer some more of these comments. How do you feel about RCR right now, Joe Torres? Joe Torres is a RCR fan, I believe, being a Dale Earnhardt Sr. fan. How do you feel about RCR right now? Not too good. Not too good if I was an RCR fan. If I was an RCR fan right now, they have 2 wins. Obviously, Ryan Newman getting the win at Phoenix on tires, and then Austin Dillon getting the win on fuel mileage. And don't get me wrong, I was a huge fan of that fuel mileage win by Austin Dillon. A huge fan of that Austin Dillon win because I got goosebumps seeing that 3 back in victory lane, especially seeing that 3 back in victory lane at Charlotte, which is Austin Dillon's home track, Richard Childress Racing's home track, and Dale Earnhardt Sr.'s home track. I got goosebumps when I watched that race. I got chills. Almost tearing up because it brought me back to the days when Dale Earnhardt Sr. won. That is Dale Earnhardt Sr.'s home track. That is Austin Dillon's home track. That is Richard Childress Racing's home track, and it's NASCAR's home track. So to see such a significant win at such a significant track, it almost made me tear up. But let's be honest here. Let's be 100% honest. Paul Menard, nothing. Paul Menard has been garbage all season long like he always has been. Okay? He's really only in this sport because of his daddy's money. We all know that about Paul Menard. Ryan Newman, though. Ryan Newman is a hell of a fucking race car driver. But he has looked really bad this year. He won that race at Phoenix, and it was a great win. I was happy to see Ryan Newman back in victory lane. I liked Ryan Newman when he was on Penske. I liked Ryan Newman when he was on Stewart-Haas. I've never had a problem with Ryan Newman. My dad is actually a Ryan Newman fan. So I was happy to see Ryan Newman win. But he has not looked championship material. He has not looked like a championship caliber driver. I don't expect much out of Ryan Newman, and I sure as hell don't expect a lot out of Austin Dillon. Austin Dillon gets that fuel mileage win at Charlotte. I just talked about how great a win that was. But I got to tell you one thing. Austin Dillon is not going to do shit when that championship, when that playoff comes. I'm telling you right now. Austin, I can tell anyone watching this video right now. Austin Dillon and Ricky Stenhouse Jr., two drivers that will be garbage when the championship playoff starts. When the playoffs start, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and Austin Dillon are not going anywhere. Austin Dillon, and ever since Kevin Harvick left, similar to ever since Carl Edwards left Roush Fenway Racing, ever since Kevin Harvick left RCR, they have never been the same. They're okay at best, but I'm worried. If I was an RCR fan, which I like Ryan Newman, which I like Austin Dillon, but if I was a diehard RCR fan like my boy Joe Torres is, I would be legitimately concerned about the status of RCR right now and what are they going to do, because they were okay in the beginning of the season, then they got average, and now all of a sudden the championship is coming. Penske's starting to get better. Brad Keselowski's starting to get better. Joe Gibbs Racing is starting to get better. Hendrick Motorsports is starting to get better. And RCR, as each week goes by, RCR just gets worse and worse and worse and worse. And they've got two guys locked into the championship. But what's the point of being in the playoffs if you're not going to do anything once the playoff starts? What's the point of it? What's the point of it? I can hear. Got to connect myself to the charger. Oh, man, we've been streaming for a while. I'll answer a couple more questions, and I want to get into the main topic of this video. Let's see what we got. Menard to the Wood brothers. Mixed opinions, because obviously I'm a diehard Penske fan. Always been a diehard Penske fan. When I started watching this sport, I was a fan of Rusty Wallace, diehard Penske fan. But you just can't help but think that the only reason he's got this ride is because Menards sponsors Penske's IndyCar team with Simon Pagenaud. And Menard brings money to the table. That's just all you can say about it. Paul Menard brings money to the table. And you've got guys like Bubba Wallace. Again, I mentioned this on my last stream. You've got guys like Bubba Wallace. You've got guys like David Reagan. You've got guys like you've got guys like David Reagan, David Gilliland. You've got these guys like Bubba Wallace who have proven themselves to be maybe not the greatest drivers that NASCAR has ever seen, but legitimate good drivers. And fact of the matter is, Paul Menard, I don't really know how good Paul Menard is. We can all sit here and say Paul Menard is a pile of shit, But let's be honest, he doesn't drive for the best race team. RCR has not been anything special. So it'll be interesting to see with Penske still being an alliance to the Wood Brothers next year. Will Paul Menard get significantly better? Because when I see Paul Menard in the Xfinity Series, Paul Menard drives the hell out of that race car. Paul Menard isn't the worst driver that we've ever seen in NASCAR. Paul Menard isn't Brian Scott bad. Paul Menard isn't John West Townley bad. But Paul Menard isn't Jimmy Johnson either. Were there better options as far as talent-wise? Were there better options to give to the 21? I'll just come right out and say, had they waited, they could have got Casey Kane. I would much have rather seen Casey Kane drive for the Wood Brothers than Paul Menard. But again, Casey Kane is having sponsorship issues. Casey Kane is having all sorts of issues right now. So I'm interested to see how good Paul Menard will be because there are no excuses for Paul Menard. Ryan Blaney has looked phenomenal in the 21 this year. Ryan Blaney, a driver that didn't have that much experience in the Cup Series, has looked phenomenal. Ryan Blaney could be a championship winner this year with how good he's been. He won a race at Pocono. He competed for the win at Watkins Glen. So if Paul Menard gets into the 21 next year and he's still finishing races 25th, 26th, 27th, then you will have a lot of upset people, and I will be the first one to get on here and say what I gotta say. I'll be the first one to get on here and say what I gotta say and cane the fuck out of Paul Menard. But this is Paul Menard's last absolute chance. He won the Brickyard on fuel mileage. This is Paul Menard's last absolute chance. If he goes out next year and doesn't do shit for the Wood Brothers, I'm gonna get on here and be really fucking angry. Remington, 88, 48, 24. I'll be back. Got to do dishes and cat litter. That's cool, man. We'll be here. I got a lot of things to say today. Let's see what else. Any other comments? I hope he does well. Kurt's grown on me over the years. Do you think Kurt will land back in the 41? That's an interesting one. Where do I think Kurt Busch will go? We have plugged in and unplugged. Let's see if we can hear it now. Let's see if we can hear it now. Kyle Busch's head is shaped like a peanut. Kyle Busch's head is shaped like a peanut. Kyle Busch's head is shaped like a peanut. Peanut, peanut. Kyle Busch's head is shaped like a peanut. Kyle Busch's head is shaped like a peanut. Can anybody hear me? Can anybody hear me? Kyle Busch's head is shaped like a peanut. Kyle Busch's head is shaped like a peanut. Kyle Busch's head is shaped like a peanut. Okay, it looks like we're working now. Damn it. Fuck Kyle Busch. We're good, we're good, we're good. I blame the technical difficulties on Kyle Busch. I blame the technical Nicholas Steiner. Stop talking shit about my favorite driver. All right, I'll stop. I'll stop. I'll stop talking for now. For now. For now. For now. But you know when you go to the racetrack? You know when you guys go to the racetrack and you always hear that one person in the crowd screaming, fuck Kyle Busch? That's me. I've gone to all these racetracks. I was at Watkins Glen last week, screaming. I lost my voice. Screaming at the top of my lungs, fuck Kyle Busch. Running around like a chicken, screaming, fuck Kyle Busch. It's great. It just is great, you know? But Kyle Busch's head is shaped like a peanut. Nothing you can say about it. I got a picture here from my boy Brent Tanek. My picture here from my boy Brent Tanek sending me a watery peanut. There you go. That's what I'm talking about. Thoughts on NASCAR Heat 2 and silly season right now? Well, first of all, thoughts on NASCAR Heat 2. Really excited for the game. Really excited to see trucks. Not only just having trucks in the game, but having actual Truck Series drivers and having their actual sponsors, and then having the opportunity to run at Eldora. I don't know about you, but I'm definitely buying that game. I definitely want to start up a league. Anyone on here who wants to start up a league for PlayStation, I'm going to be starting up a NASCAR Heat 2 league, running at Eldora, running all the trucks. It's going to be awesome. It's so awesome to see that they're doing their homework. They're doing their homework. They're getting actual Truck Series drivers that people might not even know about. Like Jennifer Jo Cobb, who I absolutely love, is in the game. Travis Kvapil's in the game. There's all these drivers in the game that you would never have expected ETX to put in games or anything like that. So to have Xfinity Series, to have trucks, how cool is it going to be to run trucks in a league race, to run the Truck Series at Eldora? How cool is that going to be? I have Heat 2 pre-ordered. Going to be so much fun. Yep, can't wait. Cannot wait to race with some of you guys. I'll be getting Heat 2 the day of. Maybe I'll vlog. I'll do my first ever vlog going to the store and getting NASCAR Heat 2. I just hope they fix the steering and throttle control. NASCAR Heat Evolution sort of felt like I was playing Cruising USA on the N64. Oh, going back to a classic with Cruising USA, Smokey Bear. That's what I'm talking about. I didn't get NASCAR Heat Evolution. I didn't get it. I've had a really, really busy year. For those of you who don't know, I'm doing some stuff with the Army. I'm going to be enlisting in the Army probably sometime next year. So I'm training with that. And then on top of that, I got my school. I'm a senior in college, and I'm doing work on top of that. So I didn't get NASCAR Heat Evolution. So I don't know all the glitches of the game. I've heard mixed reviews of it, but I will be getting Heat 2, and I'm really excited for that game. Who lands in the 77 next year? That's a tough one. For those of you who don't know, I was watching a video about Barney Visser, who owns the 77 car and owns the 78 car, and Barney Visser said, we really want for this to be a two-car team. They really 100% think that the 77 car has helped out the 78 car. The fact that you have Eric Jones relaying information back to Cole Pearn and back to Martin Truex Jr., they really think that that's helped Martin Truex Jr. out. And one of the reasons why he has been so good this year. But they got on Sirius XM radio. They got on NASCAR Race Hub. They got on a couple other shows and said, we don't know what we're going to do because we can't find sponsorship. They're already struggling sponsorship with Martin Truex Jr. You're talking about a team that has the best driver this year, the most success this year, and they're struggling to find sponsorship for their main driver. They've got Bass Pro Shops, they've got 5 Hour Energy, but they still don't have full sponsorship. That's why you see Denver Mattress on the car. That is Barney Visser's company. Barney Visser is sponsoring his own car. So they really want to run a second car, and they really want to not have to go back to a one-car team. But if they can't find sponsorship, they're going to have to. So the sad state of the sport and the sad state of the 77 car right now is the driver you see in the 77 car next year, if there will be a driver, it's going to be someone who brings sponsorship. It's going to be someone who can bring sponsorship. Somebody maybe like a Paul Menard. Now, Paul Menard's driving the 21, but if you don't have sponsorship, if you can't bring sponsorship opportunities to the table, you're not going to get in that 77 car. So I know Dollar General dropped Matt Kenseth. Great Clips dropped Casey Kane. Kurt Busch, half his season has been sponsored by Stewart Haas. And that's the problem why Kurt Busch is getting dropped, because half Kurt Busch's season has been sponsored by the sponsor of this sport in Monster Energy, and the other half of the season has been sponsored by Haas, which is his team owner. So if you can't bring sponsorship to the table, you're really going to have a hard time getting an opportunity in this sport, especially that 77 car who has come out and said, we can't run this unless we have some sort of full-time sponsorship. Let me look at some of these. Unfortunately, I think Matt Tifft until Christopher Bell is ready. I don't know why people think it'll be Kenseth. The only reason that it would be Matt Kenseth is because, well, he brings experience to the table and he has an opportunity to win races. So, again, Matt Kenseth, as well as Casey Kane, as well as Kurt Busch, is one of those drivers that could go to a race team and win races. You're talking about a mature driver. Everyone seems to like Casey Kane. I can't think of a driver off the top of my head that actually has a problem with Casey Kane. So Casey Kane goes to a team, he's an asset. He does a lot of positive things for your team. Again, sponsorship is a problem. Matt Kenseth, he could go on to a race team, possibly like the 77, and win races. He's got a good relationship. Testing. Peanut head. Kyle Busch is a peanut head. Kyle Busch is a peanut head. Testing. Kevin Harvick's wife is ugly as shit. Testing. Can anybody hear me? Can anybody hear me? Can anybody? Oh, you can hear me? All right, cool. Thank you, Smokey Bear. Completely forgot what I was talking about. Let's see. Okay, Brent Tanik. I'm really surprised that Farmer Racing is struggling to find sponsorship. Maybe Spencer Gallagher. I gotta tell you one thing. I fucking absolutely, and I'm trying not to rage because I got some people in my house right now. Last time I started raging, I got the cops called on me, so I don't want to get that happening, but you want to talk about Spencer Gallagher? I'll give you some ultimate fucking rage. Spencer Gallagher makes me absolutely fucking sick to my stomach. Oh man, I'm trying not to rage. I'm really trying not to rage right now. I'm holding every emotion in my body back right now. Really trying not to rage, but Spencer Gallagher gets me fucking going. I cannot stand Spencer Gallagher. I'm just gonna leave it there. Last time I started raging about Greg Golding, I got the cops called on me. So I pretty much live in a shack. So anything I say, people outside can hear me. So when I started raging about Greg Golding, I legitimately had the cops show up to my door. And I can't have that happen to me tonight. So I'm trying not to talk about Spencer Gallagher, but Spencer, I'm just gonna type it because I will start raging. I will really start fucking raging about Spencer Gallagher. I will really start raging about Spencer Gallagher. Spencer Gallagher makes me fucking sick to my stomach. Spencer, I can't stand Spencer Gallagher. See what this dude, Brent. See what you do to me, Brent Tannick. See what you fucking do to me, Brent Tannick, man. He knows me too well. He knows me way too well. But yeah, I'm just gonna leave it at that. Spencer Gallagher, get the fuck out of my sport. Okay, I don't like Ben Rhodes or Tyler Reddick either. Fuck those little turds. I don't know why you don't like Ben Rhodes or Tyler Reddick. I think the two of them have a lot of talent. I think Ben Rhodes has shown in the Truck Series this year that he has a lot of talent. I don't have any problem with Tyler Reddick either. I think Tyler Reddick has a lot of talent. You don't like them? That's cool. You don't have to like them, but I think Tyler Reddick has a lot of fucking talent. Ben Rhodes is a bitch. He has one engine issue, and suddenly he has the worst luck ever. Fuck off with him. Okay. I got some tension about Ben Rhodes. I still think he's a good Truck Series driver. I don't know the tension you guys have about Ben Rhodes. I think Ben Rhodes is a good Truck Series driver. I don't know. I seem to be. Nah, I fucking hate those little weirdos. All right, whatever. You don't like Ben Rhodes. I don't know what Ben Rhodes ever did to you, but I think Ben Rhodes is a good driver. That's just the bottom line. Remington 88. Hello. Yes. Well, if we don't have any more questions or comments, I'll finally get to my main topic here. Kevin Harvick's comments about Dale Earnhardt Jr. Are you ready? Because I'm going to say some things. If you're a Junior fan right now, I'm going to say some things that you might not want to hear. If you're a Kevin Harvick fan, I might say some things you want to hear. But if you guys have no more comments or questions, he races ThorSport and he can't win after a year and a half. All he can do is wreck. I agree there that he should have won a race by now, but you look at some of the drivers that are in the sport right now. Look at a guy like Cody Coughlin. Ben Rhodes is better than Cody Coughlin. There are other drivers in that sport right now that Ben Rhodes is better than, but it is what it is. Harvick is absolutely right in this statement. Sorry, not sorry, Junior Nation. All right, let's get this thing started. I was going to make a separate video, not on the live chat, but I just got to say it now. For those of you who don't know, Kevin Harvick has a show on Sirius XM radio. Now, I'm poor as fucking shit. I can't afford Sirius XM radio. So when this first happened, I wasn't listening to it live. I wasn't doing anything of that. But for those of you who don't know, Kevin Harvick has a show on Sirius XM radio called Happy Hours. Basically a podcast. It's something that a lot of the drivers nowadays are doing. Ryan Blaney has a podcast. I actually have a podcast with my man Brent Tannick, the 3 Wide podcast. But drivers are doing that nowadays. Brad Keselowski does it from time to time. These drivers, they like to talk about the sport. Okay, I got nothing wrong with that. You want to go on a radio show on a Tuesday or a Wednesday when you're not doing anything. You want to talk about the state of the sport. I got no problem with that. Kevin Harvick came out with some very strong comments. And I got to tell you, these are the same things I've been saying about Junior for years. I have been saying these same things, and I got the videos to prove it. I got the audio videos to prove it. I've been saying these same things about Dale Earnhardt Jr. for years. The fact that Dale Earnhardt Jr., the most popular driver in our sport for the last 14, 15 years, has not been that successful, it has hurt the sport of NASCAR. There's no denying that. You look at a sport like the NFL. You look at the sport like the NBA. NFL, you got Tom Brady. Tom Brady is one of the most popular players in the National Football League, but he's also the most successful and arguably the greatest of all time. You look at the NBA with LeBron James. You look at Steph Curry. Look at these players. They're the most popular players in their sport. They sell the most jerseys. They sell the most merchandise. They sell the most tickets. But they win, and they're the best. And no one argues that LeBron James isn't the best. No one argues that Tom Brady isn't the best. But you talk about Dale Earnhardt Jr. in NASCAR, the most successful driver that we've had, the most popular driver that we've ever had in the sport of NASCAR. You look at Dale Earnhardt Jr. and you say, wait, your most popular driver for the last 15 years hasn't been the best? You mean to tell me there's at least 10 other drivers that are better than your most popular driver? I can name 10 drivers right now that are currently in the NASCAR Cup Series that have had more successful careers than Dale Earnhardt Jr. And I'm not saying it because I'm a Dale Earnhardt Jr. hater. I'm not saying it because of any of that. But Kevin Harvick's comments are true. And here's the fact of the matter. When Dale Earnhardt Jr. went out for concussions, ticket sales went down. When fans know that Dale Earnhardt Jr. is having a horrible season, when they know he's irrelevant, when they know he's not going to win races, sales go down. People stop watching on TV. People stop going to races, and it hurts the sport. It legitimately hurts the sport. If Tom Brady gets injured in week 1 this season of the NFL, a shitload of Patriots fans won't go to games. If you're a Patriots fan, or just if you're a Patriots fan or a straight out Tom Brady fan, and Tom Brady gets injured in the first snap on week 1, how many Patriots fans will stop watching games? How many Patriots fans will stop attending games? It's the same exact thing in NASCAR. The fact that Dale Earnhardt Jr. never once in his career had a legitimate shot at winning a championship has hurt this sport. How many more fans would we have in NASCAR right now? How many more people would we have watching in NASCAR right now if Dale Earnhardt Jr. had won championships? Had he been more competitive? Because even in the seasons when Dale Earnhardt Jr. won races, he had zero chance of winning the championship. And it has legitimately hurt the sport. And I 100% agree with what Kevin Harvick has to say about that. 100% agree. There's no doubt in that. There is no doubt in that. And I'm unbiased here because I'm not a Harvick fan. I'm not a Dale Jr. fan. I never was. I never have been. But the fact of the matter is, Kevin Harvick is 100% right. Had Dale Earnhardt Jr. had a more successful career, there'd be more fans in seats, and there'd just be more fans watching NASCAR, period. Dale Earnhardt Sr., Dale Jr.'s daddy, was so popular because he was the greatest. He was a 7-time champion. He was a legitimate threat to win at any racetrack, any time of year, case and point. And Dale Earnhardt Jr. has not been that. Dale Earnhardt Jr. has not done that. Harvick is absolutely right. I'm sorry if you're a Dale Earnhardt Jr. fan, but Harvick is 100% correct in this situation. And you know what? As a fan of NASCAR, I want to see Dale Earnhardt Jr. do good. I want to see Dale Earnhardt Jr. win races. I want to see him be competitive. I would love to see him win a championship in his final season, but it's not going to happen. And I go to the racetrack every week. I was at Watkins Glen. I was at Pocono. I was at Dover. I was at Daytona. These fans that still think that Dale Earnhardt Jr. is going to win the championship this year. And it's sad because you know what? He's just not that good a driver. And he never was. He could win races from time to time, arguably because he was in the best equipment that this sport has ever seen. Hendrick Motorsports is legitimately the best equipment that the sport of NASCAR has ever seen. He's been at Hendrick Motorsports for years on end, and he never got the job done. And I think, how many fans? Now, just bear with me here. How many fans have you talked to? How many fans have you seen on Twitter or Facebook or YouTube that have said, when Dale Earnhardt Jr. retires, I am stopping watching NASCAR? How many fans have said that? How many fans have you ran into? I've ran into fans at racetracks, at NASCAR racetracks, at dirt tracks. I've ran into fans on Twitter that have legitimately said, if Dale Earnhardt Jr. retires, I will stop watching NASCAR. I don't get that. But again, that goes back to what Kevin Harvick has to say about the fact that Dale Earnhardt Jr. is bad, fans stop watching. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is good, fans start watching again. Dale Earnhardt Jr. has a chance at winning the championship, fans go to races. And it's just the way it is. And you can compare it to football, like I said before. If Tom Brady gets injured in the first game of the season, you will see a shitload of fans stop going to Patriots games. If LeBron James gets injured in the first game of the NBA season, you will see fans stop going to the Cleveland Cavaliers games. And that is the same thing with Dale Earnhardt Jr. It has legitimately hurt the sport that Dale Earnhardt Jr. has not been a successful driver. It has legitimately hurt the sport. And the fact of the matter is, you have guys like Kevin Harvick. You have guys like Kyle Busch. You have guys like Brad Keselowski. These are guys that Junior fans hate. Junior Nation is very vocal. Junior Nation loves Dale Jr., but they hate Kyle Busch. They love Dale Jr., but they hate Kevin Harvick. They love Dale Jr., but they have some mean things to say about Brad Keselowski. So the fact that Dale Earnhardt Jr. hasn't won a championship, but three of the most hated drivers in NASCAR have won championships, has really hurt the sport of NASCAR. When you see the guy that everyone in NASCAR loves not be successful, but then you see the guys that everyone in NASCAR hates be successful, fans stop watching, fans stop going to races, and it hurts the sport. And Kevin Harvick is 100% correct about all of that. All the time. They aren't real fans, in my opinion. My guy Gordon retired in 2015, as you know. Exactly. I 100% agree with that. I 100% agree with that. If you will stop watching NASCAR because Dale Earnhardt Jr. isn't in the sport anymore, you shouldn't have been watching, period. I watch NASCAR because I'm a race fan. And NASCAR is the racing sport that has the hardest racetracks, that has the most competitive racing, and that has the most competitive drivers. And that is why I watch NASCAR. I don't watch it because Dale Jr. is in it. If Dale Earnhardt Jr. retires, good for him. I'm still going to watch NASCAR. I was a huge Rusty Wallace fan. A huge Rusty Wallace fan. Rusty Wallace retired, I still watch NASCAR. I was a huge Tony Stewart fan. Tony Stewart stopped watching. Tony Stewart retired, I still watch NASCAR. So if you're going to stop watching NASCAR because one guy retires, I got no answer for you. I have absolutely no answer for you. And I think there are a lot of genuine fans out there because I go to the racetrack and I used to see a lot of Jeff Gordon fans, and now I see a lot of Chase Elliott fans, similar to what my boy Brent Tannick is saying. Brent Tannick was a huge Jeff Gordon fan. Now he's a Chase Elliott fan. And don't stop watching NASCAR because your favorite driver is out of it. Root for another driver. Root for Alex Bowman. Root for Jeffrey Earnhardt. It's just not. It's just case point. Period. It's just not a good enough answer for me. I know qualifying's on right now. If any of you guys are leaving for that, that's cool to watch qualifying. Let's see. Any questions? Any comments? Let me know down below. I'm scrolling back up to see what's going on here. Someone wants me to talk about Ryan Preece. I talked about Ryan Preece in my last video. I absolutely fucking love Ryan Preece. Ryan Preece is the first Joe Gibbs Racing driver I have rooted for since Joey Logano left Joe Gibbs Racing. When Joey Logano left Joe Gibbs Racing, I said to myself, I will never root for this horrible, vile, disgusting team ever again. And then Ryan Preece came along, and I'm like, you know what? I have to root for Ryan Preece. Ryan Preece is fucking awesome. If you guys don't know the story of Ryan Preece, Google that shit. Ryan Preece is a legitimate old school race car driving. Ryan Preece is doing everything the right way. I wish Ryan Preece, no matter if he drives for Joe Gibbs Racing, no matter who he drives for, I root for Ryan Preece because you know what? You have one opportunity. What Ryan Preece did was he gathered a shitload of local sponsors from the New Hampshire, Connecticut area, a shitload of local sponsors, and he walked in to Joe Gibbs Racing shop. Didn't have any contact, didn't have anybody that he knew that worked there, didn't have anyone he knew. He just drove down to North Carolina. He went into Joe Gibbs Racing's office and said, Joe Gibbs, I am Ryan Preece. I have a shitload of sponsors. You better give me a ride. And Joe Gibbs Racing said, okay, you got sponsors. We'll give you 2 chances. One at New Hampshire and one at Iowa. We will give you 2 chances. And Ryan Preece not only took those chances and ran, he took those chances and won. He beat out guys at a full-time rides. He beat out a guy like Elliott Sadler. He beat out a guy like Justin Allgaier. Ryan Preece is the real fucking deal. Ryan Preece is the true poster child for an old school driver doing it the old school way, not being handed a silver spoon and saying, here's a shitload of money, go do whatever you want in this race car. Ryan Preece has worked his ass off to get where he is, and he showed the world that he can ride. Where does this take his career? I don't know. He should be a full-time race car driver in the NASCAR level, whether it's trucks, Xfinity, or even the Monster Cup Series. Ryan Preece should be somewhere in a competitive car next year, or I will be legitimately pissed. Ryan Preece and Alex Bowman are proof dreams come true. 100%. So many people will say, I'm a good race car driver, but I stopped racing because of this, or I stopped racing because I didn't have the opportunity. Do you guys remember, anyone here who used to watch the Truck Series, I guess 5 to 10 years ago, do you guys remember Justin Boston? Do you guys remember him? Justin Boston, I had someone ask me about him the other day. Justin Boston was a pretty good Truck Series driver. Can't remember if he got a win, but he wasn't in the best equipment. But Justin Boston was in a hell. Justin Boston was a hell of a driver, a heck of a driver. And where is Justin Boston now? He's a real estate agent in the North Carolina area. Has nothing to do with NASCAR whatsoever. Doesn't race on weekends. Doesn't do anything. And people are like, how did you go from being a pretty popular, pretty talented young driver in the Truck Series to being a real estate agent? Well, he didn't have the opportunity. He didn't have sponsorships. He didn't have a team backing him up. He didn't have all this stuff. But you look at Alex Bowman. You look at Ryan Preece and you're like, it still can be done. People want to act like it's so commercialized. You have to have a sponsor. You have to have a rich daddy. Ryan Preece and Alex Bowman are showing the world that you don't need all that. It's a hell of a lot fucking harder. The shit Alex Bowman had to go through, the shit Ryan Preece had to go through to get where they got, it's so much fucking harder. But it still can be done. It still can be done. Let me see. I remember him. Justin Boston didn't get a win. He raced for KBM for a while, but his company was cheating. The amount of money they said they would pay. And again, Nicholas Steiner, you bring up a great point. If you don't have sponsorships, if you don't have money, you're forced out of the sport. And that's what's so much different about football. That's what's so much different about basketball. A lot of people want to keep comparing NASCAR to the stick and ball sports, but the fact of the matter is, if you're a good football player, you'll have a job. If you're a good basketball player, you'll have a job. If you're a good hockey player, you'll have a job. But you could be the best damn race car driver this earth has ever seen. But if you don't bring money to the table, you are fucked. If you don't bring money to the table, you're out of a ride. And Justin Boston thought he had a sponsorship. The sponsorship cheated Kyle Busch Motorsports out of money. Didn't pay Kyle Busch Motorsports the money that they asked for. And Justin Boston was fucked out of a job. And he said, you know what? The road getting back into NASCAR is long. It's treacherous. It's hard. And after I complete that road, I don't necessarily know if it's even going to get me anywhere. So I'm going to go do a regular civilian job. I'm going to go do a regular 9-to-5 job. make some money, live an average life, and that's that. Same thing happened to Casey Atwood. I loved Casey Atwood. Casey Atwood drove, I believe he was sponsored by Castrol, which I loved that paint scheme because John Force drove it. And I also remember it because he drove a Navy paint scheme. I love all the military paint schemes. So I remember Casey Atwood. Casey Atwood got fucked over. Justin Boston got fucked over. Travis Kvapil won a Truck Series championship. He got fucked over. Reed Sorensen got fucked over. David Gilliland got fucked over. I mean, the list goes on and on. Bubba Wallace, the list goes on and on and on and on. Ron Hornaday was forced to retire. I got to tell you one thing. I was a huge Ron Hornaday fan. I'm so happy he is in the Hall of Fame. I'm so happy Ron Hornaday is in the Hall of Fame. He really deserved it. Ron Hornaday deserved the Hall of Fame. Loved his Longhorn paint scheme. Loved his Smoky Mountain paint scheme. Couple other paint. Loved his Papa John's paint scheme. Love that paint. Okay, now this is the end-all be-all. Completely forgot to talk about this driver. Brent Tannick brings up Timothy Peters. What happened to Timothy Peters? I mean, Red Horse Racing shuts down, and to no surprise, I guess. I mean, how many years did Red Horse Racing? How many years? Let's get this out of the way. How many years did Red Horse Racing drive around in that truck series without a single goddamn sponsor on that car? Two bright white plain trucks driving around the truck series. Timothy Peters wins races. Timothy Peters makes it all the way to the Final Four in Homestead last year. Now, he didn't win. Many people didn't think he would. But Timothy Peters makes it all the way to the Final Four in Miami. All the fucking way. And he's out of a ride. And he can't get a sponsorship. And not only that, before Red Horse Racing closed their doors this year, Timothy Peters was up front. Timothy Peters had a couple races. Timothy Peters had a couple races where he could have won. Timothy Peters was in the top 5 in the Cup standings. Timothy Peters would have won a race by now. Timothy Peters would be in the championship conversation right now. But yet, he's out of a ride. Not only is he out of a ride, he's nowhere to be found. This is what makes me legitimately mad. You have Timothy Peters, a proven winner, a championship threat. He's at home eating fried chicken and drinking Miller Lite on Sundays and Saturdays and Friday nights. But you have guys like Cody Coughlin. Cody Coughlin. Well, Cody Coughlin, his parents and family own Jags. They own the company that sponsors him. So Cody Coughlin's got a secure ride. Anyone who watches the NHRA knows that Troy Coughlin Jr., Cody Coughlin's cousin, is also a garbage driver. Troy Coughlin Jr. is a horrible NHRA driver. But he's got a full-time ride because his daddy's company sponsors him. Cody Coughlin Jr. has got a full-time ride because his company sponsors him. Troy Coughlin Jr. in the NHRA world and Cody Coughlin in the NASCAR world are horrible race drivers. So they have full-time rides because they have rich daddies who own a fancy company. And that is the sad state of the sport in this day and age. If you don't bring money to the table, and if you do bring money to the table, you will get announced out. Redneck Gamers, Matt Tiff sucks. Yes, he does. Matt Tiff is absolute fucking garbage. You have Ryan Preece and Kyle Benjamin who have absolutely no experience. Absolutely no experience in these NASCAR Xfinity Series cars come in out of nowhere and run 1-2. But you have Matt Tifft have a full-time series ride. Matt Tifft has a full-time fucking series ride and can't even finish top 10. Anyone who has driven in that car recently has won races. Daniel Suarez won a fucking Xfinity Series championship in that car. And Matt Tifft can't even finish top 10. You know, I like the Matt Tifft story. He had a brain tumor. He had to get out of NASCAR because he had the brain tumor. Now he's back in NASCAR. I like the Matt Tifft story. But Matt Tifft is an absolute garbage race car driver. Daniel Suarez couldn't speak a word of fucking English. Daniel Suarez went on his radio and said, taco, taco, Corona, taco. And he won an Xfinity Series championship. But Matt Tifft can't even come close to finishing top 10. Same equipment, same team, same pit crew. Can't come close. But then you have a guy like Ryan Preece who gets in for one race and fucking wins with the same fucking team. Kyle Benjamin finishes second. Denny Hamlin wins a race or comes close to winning a race. Christopher Bell killing it in the Truck Series. But Matt Tifft has a full-time ride, and that's just the way it is nowadays. Matt Tifft got the call, and, hopefully Matt Tifft gets dropped for Christopher Bell. Christopher Bell is going to be a full-time driver next year. Hopefully Matt Tifft gets dropped. TJ Majeski isn't that good, but I like his story coming from iRacing. I like the story of TJ Majeski, but I don't like the fact that they bumped Bubba Wallace for TJ Majeski. Here's the story about TJ Majeski. One of the top-ranked iRacing drivers in the world. Hell of an iRacing driver. And when you have a guy like William Byron, who came from iRacing, these NASCAR teams and NASCAR scouts are looking into the iRacing world right now. Who's the best iRacing driver? I'm waiting for Ray Alfalo Jr. to get his job, his ride. It is Ty Majeski. Sorry about that. I was reading Redneck Gamer's thing, but it is actually Ty Majeski, not TJ. But you have these teams right now that are looking into the virtual world of racing. Who's the best iRacing driver? Can he bring sponsorship? And the fact was, Ty Majeski got his chance to ride with Roush Fenway Racing because iRacing was willing to sponsor him for that race. iRacing said, you're one of the best we've ever had racing iRacing. Let's sponsor your car and get you into a cup car. So they did that. Didn't really do anything special. Didn't really do that great a job. I might have finished top 15, maybe top 20, which for the Xfinity Series isn't good at all. Xfinity Series isn't good at all to finish top 20. So this is what really pissed me off, though. Roush Fenway Racing gets a new sponsorship opportunity. A new company jumps onto Roush Fenway Racing's bandwagon. They're like, I can't remember what the name of the company was, but Roush Fenway Racing, they have a brand new company come to them and say, we want to sponsor you for one race in the Xfinity Series. We want to sponsor Roush Fenway Racing for one race in the Xfinity Series. So I'm thinking they got to give it to Bubba Wallace. But no, they give it to Ty Majeski. Another fuck you to Bubba Wallace. How many more fuck yous is Bubba Wallace going to take? I just don't know. Now the story is that Richard Petty Motorsports is looking to get a second ride, but they need sponsorship. Bubba Wallace is just going to be one of those drivers. He's persistent. He doesn't give up, but he's coming into NASCAR at a time where there are so many good drivers, so many good young drivers that not only are good and talented, but they're bringing sponsorships. William Byron has sponsorship. Eric Jones has a little bit of sponsorship. Bubba Wallace doesn't have sponsorship. And again, the problem with Bubba Wallace is the same problem that Timothy Peters faces. Bubba Wallace was a legitimate championship contender this year. When the news broke that he was getting bumped, and he was getting bumped out of his ride, I think he was top 5 in the Xfinity Series standings. Why can't a guy who's going to be competing for a championship find sponsorship? You have Timothy Peters, who was in the Final Four, literally one race away from winning a NASCAR Series championship, and you can't get a company to sponsor you? It blows my fucking mind. Bubba Wallace got fucked, and a lot of people want to see him do well. He's driving the 99 truck at Michigan this week. Hopefully he does well. Unfortunately, it's the only thing he has right now. But hopefully something happens for Bubba Wallace. I just have this feeling that 5, 10, 15 years from now, Bubba Wallace is going to be one of those guys that when we talk about him, a lot of people are going to say, whatever happened to Bubba Wallace? Remember, he was an up-and-coming driver, and remember, he was going to have an opportunity to win championships. Whatever happened to him? Going to be one of those guys like Justin Boston that people just, they don't know what happened to him. One day they were competing for wins in NASCAR, and the next day they were out bagging groceries at the local Kroger. So you never know. Blaney leading Chase Elliott in round 1 of qualifying, 13 minutes left. This is going to be an unpopular statement, but I hope Kyle gets the poll. Hold the phone. I'm turning my TV on. Hold the phone. Hold the phone. TV is turning on. TV is turning on. Let's see if I get any receptions out here in the fucking sticks of Pennsylvania. Let's see what I can get here. Okay. What is it on NBCSN? Hopefully I get this channel. I don't even get Daniel Suarez eating tacos. Daniel Suarez eating tacos. Horse racing, NHL hockey. Oh, here we go. Okay. Ryan Blaney leading Chase. Okay, Joey Logano out on track. All right. Getting some live reactions to qualifying. Okay, Logano in the green. Come on, baby. Oh shit! All right, he's in the red. Come on, Joey. Damn, Steve Letarte going in harsh on my boy Joey. Steve Letarte is trash talk. Oh, okay, Steve Letarte. Okay. Hey, NASCAR 222, can you accept my invitation on Google Hangouts? Let me see if I know how to do that. Hey, Reed Sorensen back in the 55. Fuck yeah, man. Reed is a boss. Reed Sorensen's a fucking boss. Never giving up. My boy Reed Sorensen never giving up. So I have a invitation. Honestly, I have no idea how to accept your invitation, Redneck Gamers. Absolutely no. No. Don't know how to accept your invitation. Hold up real quick. Hell yeah, Reed Sorensen back in the 55. Hell yeah. Hell fucking yeah, baby. Click on the invitation. Uh-oh, Kyle Busch. All right, damn, okay. I'm telling you guys, this could be Chase Elliott's week, though. Chase Elliott, I believe he got second here in Michigan. I believe that's that's the problem we always have with getting you into 3 Wild Podcasts. I said it before and I said it again. I'm a fucking idiot. I said it before and I said it again. I'm no technical genius. I'm lucky I can do this. This is why I'm doing this stream for so damn long, because I don't know if I'll be able to figure it out next week when I want to do it again. It will be on top of the invitation. Hold on. Control room, cameraman, screen share, chat. Hold on. Taco, Corona. Oh, yeah. Ty Dillon was impressive, man. I was at that race in Dover. I was at that race in Dover where there legitimately was an opportunity where, like, I was drinking a beer and I looked up and I'm like, wait, is Ty Dillon leading this race? I can't be drunk. I've only had a couple beers, but Ty Dillon was leading that race, and I was like, are you fucking kidding me right now? Ty Dillon leading at Dover, one of the hardest tracks. But Nicholas Steiner, he should be the. Don't get me started on Premium Motorsports. Do not get me started on Premium Motorsports. This is not the day for me to rage, because last time I raged, I got cops at my door. And if you remember, I made a Matt Kenseth rage a couple of years ago, and the cops were at my door again. So the cops know who I am. The cops know who I am. So if you're trying to get me to rage, this is not going to be the day because I'm trying to get into the Army. I'm graduating college soon. I'm trying to get into the Army. I cannot have any criminal records or anything on me because I'm trying to get into the Army. So I cannot rage. Today is not the day I can rage. The time will come, but not here, not right now. I like the Dillon brothers. I don't understand the hate they always get. You know, I do and I don't because the thing is with the Dillon brothers. Again, they're okay drivers. They're not the greatest drivers we've ever seen. But for Richard Childress Racing to legitimately fuck Kevin Harvick over and basically build this whole race team around the Dillon brothers is why people hate him. Because why is people are asking who's going to drive the 27 next year? Is it going to be Matt Kenseth? Is it going to be Casey Kane? We know who's driving the 27 next year. If you don't think it's Ty Dillon, you're a fucking idiot. We know Ty Dillon is driving the 13 next year. Come on. I mean, we know Ty Dillon's driving the 27 next year. Ever since Dale Earnhardt died, Richard Childress Racing's whole goal of his race team was to make a team where no matter how bad Ty Dillon did, no matter how bad Austin Dillon did, they would always have a spot. And they turned out to be good racing drivers. They turned out to bring sponsorships. But I was watching NASCAR Race Hub, I believe it was 2 nights ago, where Richard Childress Racing said one day he wants to hand the team down to Austin and Ty. Now, Austin and Ty are okay drivers. They're not the greatest out there. But why people hate them so much is that this whole team is formed around Austin and Ty. And Kevin Harvick was on that team. Kevin Harvick was the driver that saved that team. If you remember when Dale Earnhardt Sr. died, Kevin Harvick was the one driver that Richard Childress Racing turned to. He saved that team. That team would have been in the garbage can. That team would have been in the shitter. They would have been eating. They would have been eating tacos with Juan Pablo Montoya down in Colombia. Had it not been for Kevin Harvick, and then Kevin Harvick gets fucked over because we want to make a team for Austin and Ty. So now we're gonna fuck Kevin Harvick over, and that's basically why people are mad at him. But I've always been an Austin Dillon fan. I liked him when he was in the trucks. I liked him when he was in the Xfinity Series, and I like him now. And I would want to see Austin Dillon win a championship because we have never seen a driver in the history of this sport win the Triple Crown. The Triple Crown is winning the Truck Series championship, winning the Xfinity Series championship, and winning the Cup Series championship. That almost happened with Greg Biffle. Almost happened with Greg Biffle, but it didn't. And Austin Dillon is one of the guys that could happen. Oh my God, hand the team to them. Jesus Christ, Richard. Oh man. I would make the argument that currently Austin Dillon is the best at RCR's Cup tier. You could argue that. I think I would make the argument for Ryan Newman still. After what he did 2 years ago, not winning a race, making it all the way down to Homestead. And I legitimately think that if Ryan Newman was in better equipment, if he never left Stewart Haas, if he never left Penske, I legitimately think Ryan Newman would still be a legitimate championship contender. He'd be a race-to-race contender. But Richard Childress Racing right now just is not, by any means, is not an organization that is capable of winning races on a week-to-week basis. I think that I really think that Richard Childress Racing is a step above Roush Fenway, but they're a far step away from the Penske's and the Joe Gibbs and the Hendricks, legitimately. And you look at Ricky Stenhouse Jr. qualifying right now. He's in the green right now. Let's see what Ricky Stenhouse Jr. can do. Let's see what Ricky Stenhouse Jr. can do. I'm probably going to only be on here for like another 15 minutes. So if you have any questions you want me to answer, bang them out now. We've been streaming for 2 fucking hours, so that is a long ass time. Any questions, let me know. I'll answer them. Predictions for Michigan, we'll see when qualifying is done. I'd like to see, wouldn't mind seeing Kyle Larson win again. Jeffrey Earnhardt. This Jeffrey Earnhardt sponsorship with Hulu is intriguing me. Because is this a sponsorship solely to Jeffrey, or is it to Circle Sport? Because if this is a sponsorship solely to Jeffrey Earnhardt could take that sponsorship and go some places. Because Jeffrey Earnhardt's a hell of a driver. He's just on arguably the worst team in NASCAR. I mean, they performance-wise, their cars are worse than BK Racing. BK Racing just has horrible drivers. But performance-wise, they're worse than BK Racing. They're worse than BK Racing. I got to go in 10 minutes, guys. I got to go in 10 minutes. Hulu is signed to Circle Sport, unfortunately. See, that pisses me off. That pisses me off. You know, Circle Sport is the worst team as far as performance goes. As far as performance goes, they are worse than BK Racing. They are worse than Premium Motorsports. BK Racing, they're bad, but they're not the worst. They just have the worst drivers, and they're money hogs. They're money hungry. BK Racing is money hungry. You see Circle Sport, you see Premium Motorsports. They're not as money hungry as BK Racing. BK Racing is only in the sport for money. BK Racing is only in the sport for money. I got to go in 10 minutes, so if you guys have any last questions, let me know. Michigan this weekend, I can't believe you would sign to Circle Sport instead of Jeffrey Earnhardt. What the fuck is wrong with people's brains these days? It's just the way it is, man. And people have said, owners, drivers have said, why the fuck does BJ McLeod have a cup ride? Oh my god. Oh my god. Why the fuck does BJ McLeod have a cup ride? Why the fuck is Derek Cope still driving? Derek Cope, don't get me wrong, in his prime days, Derek Cope was a good driver. Derek Cope is like 97 fucking years old. Derek Cope is like 97 fucking years old. Why is he still driving? Why the fuck is Derek Cope still driving? Redneck Gamers, the video is uploaded. Okay. When I'm done streaming, I'll watch it. I promise. I will get this down. And for the next stream I do, you guys can come on stream with me and we can have like a NASCAR debate show. That's really what I wanted to do. That's why I was on the 3 Wide podcast with my boy Brent Tannick, because we wanted to get like a debate show going. So if I can get that going here, that would be awesome too. Get some of you guys in. I know Redneck Gamers wants to get in. I know Jeff the Pelican wants to get in on it. Brent Tannick, if we can get him in, that would be awesome. Starter is with Jeffrey Earnhardt. Hulu is with Circle Sport. I knew Jeffrey Earnhardt had Starter, but again, they're only sponsoring a couple of races, and they don't have the money. They don't want to spend the money to go to a Junior Motorsports and have to pay for something full time. I'd love to, but I'm too lazy to get on a podcast. I'll keep writing comments on it though. Hey man, when the time comes and you want to jump on, we got a spot for you. We got a spot for you for sure here on the NASCAR 222 podcast. Spend about 5 more minutes here. If you guys have any questions, let me know. Is anyone going to Michigan this weekend? Is anyone going to Michigan? Has anyone ever been to Michigan? Derek is 58, Morgan Shepherd is... That's what I'm saying, though, man. Derek is 58, Morgan Shepherd is 75. Why are they there? You know what I'm saying? They're in uncompetitive cars. They crash out. If they don't crash out, their engines blow. It's just, I don't get the point to it. But they're diehard racers. But if you've ever been to a local short track, there's a lot of old guys over there. So my local short track's got a lot of older men. But again, it is what it is. What do you think of the new Chevy body? I love the new Chevy body. Brent Tannick sent me a picture yesterday. I was in the middle of doing something, and I dropped all my shit. I was in the middle of doing something important. I dropped fucking everything. That new Chevy body is really fucking sexy. I cannot wait. And I'm a Ford guy. I'm a ride or die Ford fan, but those Chevys, man, As much as it kills me to say it, those Chevys are sexy as fuck. Looks bad to the bone. Hell yeah, it is. What's it like? The Chevy ZL1, I believe it is. I remember I was at Daytona. I was at the 500 this year, and they were promoting that car. And a lot of people were saying, like, why is NASCAR and why is Chevy promoting this car so much? It was a little fishy. People were starting to get rumors back in February when they saw it going around the track. And here we are, just, 5-6 months later. It's going to be the car next year. Finally going to be the next car this year. I wasn't a fan of the Chevrolet SS. I wanted to see I wouldn't mind seeing the Monte Carlo come back, or the Impala. But man, this is as bad as it gets. By far, will be the sexiest looking car in all of auto racing. I don't care what anyone says. I'd fuck the shit out of that Chevy ZS1. I'd get to the back of that trunk and just fuck the shit out of it. Yeah. There's a driver up in Kansas named Craig Miller that runs super stocks and wins at 69 years old. Hey, man. There's a hell of a lot of ARCA drivers. There's a hell of a lot of ARCA drivers that are old as shit. I met one, and I actually got his. I was at a motorsports show in Oaks, Pennsylvania, and I actually met Jeffrey Earnhardt there. I met Joey Logano there, and Richard Petty was there. And I met a guy by the name of Steve Fox. He runs in the ARCA series at Pocono and a couple of other tracks. He's old, man. I didn't get his age, but I met him, and he's old. He's got to be close to being in his 60s. He goes up there, and he's competitive. He runs at Pocono. He runs at some of these local tracks. He's competitive. And if you're competitive, that's all that matters. Brent Tanek, old drivers are good if they can be competitive, but no old driver in NASCAR. That's the thing. Like, I used to see Terry Labonte. I used to see Bobby Labonte running for Go Fast Racing, and I'm like, what the fuck are they doing? These are two Hall of Fame drivers, man. Bobby Labonte, Terry Labonte, they're two Hall of Fame drivers. They've won championships. What the fuck are they doing driving around in 35th for Go Fast Racing? Like, what the fuck are they doing? And then they ended up leaving, and I was like, all right, because the only good thing about an underfunded team is that they give an opportunity sometimes to a new driver. But it is what it is. I had BJ McLeod finishing dead last BJ McLeod dead last. Ryan Newman's interview. These RCR cars are slow as fuck. Ryan Newman qualified 25th. Ryan Newman qualified 25th. Richard Childress Racing. That's Richard Childress Racing for you. We won a race. Only on fuel mileage. Only on tires. Won the championship, but we qualified 25th. And yeah, Redneck Gamers, Bobby isn't retired. Why isn't Bobby Labonte retired? Like, is Hendrick Motorsports going to magically call him up one day and say, hey, Bobby, you want to run full time for us? Joe Gibbs is going to call him back. Hey, Bobby, remember you won a championship for us 18 years ago? Bobby Labonte, you won a championship for us 18 years ago. You want to come back? You want to come back? Like, why are you not retired, Bobby Labonte? 36 for Jeffrey. I don't really have much to say about Jeffrey Earnhardt. I'm a big fan of his. I met him. He was a cool guy. But until he gets off of Circle Sport, he's going to be fucked. Did anyone think BJ wouldn't be dead last? I didn't even know BJ McLeod was in the fucking race. So, yeah, I thought he would be dead last. I didn't even know BJ McLeod was in this fucking race to begin with. Jeffrey wants a truck ride. I know BJ McLeod runs trucks from time to time. But it is what it is. It is what it is. In 5 more minutes, I gotta head out soon. Got some business I gotta take care of. Quick question about this channel for the 6 of you that are watching. Would you want me to start doing maybe some vlogs? I go to like racetracks all the time. I go to Williams Grove a lot. Would you want to see me doing vlogs? Maybe when I go by NASCAR Heat Evolution 2, maybe me driving a little bit in my car, just stuff like that. If you want to see that, let me know. Because other than that, I don't really have time. Other than these couple hours I do when I sit here and stream, I don't really have time to sit down and make a video. But if I film some of the stuff I'm doing during the day, maybe you guys would want to watch. Maybe you wouldn't. I don't know. But let me know. I'm down for some vlogs. All right. I'm down for some vlogs. We'll see what I can do. I just recently started training because I'm joining the army. So I just started recently training. So maybe I'll do some training stuff. Show you guys some of my daily routine, for lack of a better word. 5:43. I'm gonna get off here at 5:50. Sure, I would like to see a Let's Play of NASCAR Heat 2. Like I said, I'm gonna be starting up that league. So we're gonna definitely do a league website, league video, and league teams and all that stuff. You should do a video game vlog of playing Heat 2. Maybe I'll do that. You guys seem to want that. Definitely gonna be videos of the league. So if you guys want to be in the league, hit me up on Twitter. It has to be PlayStation Network though. We're gonna run a shitload of races, and we're gonna have a league website, a league YouTube channel. It's gonna be a fun deal, a really fun deal. Is Chase Elliott's car? What's NBC in his hand? How do you guys feel about this British guy? Commentating races? Where the fuck is Rick Allen? I saw something. Oh, Rick Allen is at a fucking track and field meeting. Why the fuck is Rick Allen at a fucking track and field match? He's supposed to be a full-time NASCAR analyst. Why am I listening to some fucking British guy? You know? Get an Xbox, bitch. Buy me an Xbox, bitch. Buy me an Xbox. Buy me a motherfucking Xbox. Oh, here's Matt Kenseth. This is the fastest track in NASCAR. Has anyone ever been to Michigan? Or is anyone going this weekend? Victory Lane, the Fox 55. Oh, what's going on, man? Unfortunately, we're getting off this stream in about 5 minutes, but thanks for checking in. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't hit it already. Here's Matt Kenseth. Sounds like an F1 race. Yeah, that's the problem. Fuck F1. That's the problem. Fuck F1. Hamlin was running 213 earlier. Sweet, man. Dude, I don't even have to be driving it. I would love to just get in one of these cars, sit next to a driver. I don't care who the driver is, and just go 200. How fucking cool would that be? Just to sit down with Denny Hamlin or Joey Logano or one of these guys and just feel what 200 feels like. I've gone 100. I've taken my car on the Pennsylvania Turnpike. I've gone about 100, 110, just going down the Turnpike. But what does 200 feel like going in the draft, man? That would be fucking just insane. I'm not going to Michigan. I think it's one of the most tracks. Yeah, that's the problem with Michigan races. Michigan races are either really bad or really good. There's never a race where it's like, that was a pretty good race. They're either really good races or really bad races. I remember that race where it was Matt Kenseth versus Austin Dillon. I thought that was a hell of a race. But there were a couple Michigan races where it was like, oh my God, the same driver has been leading the whole fucking time. Can someone else take over? I have a feeling that could happen with Martin Truex Jr. or maybe Kevin Harvick. Martin Truex Jr. or Kyle Busch this weekend. I might go to Talladega or Charlotte or Homestead. Homestead would be awesome. I'm trying to get down to Homestead. I am going to Richmond in 1 month. I am going to Richmond. It'll be a fucking just amazing time. I'm going to Richmond. In about a month, I'm going to Richmond. So I gotta tell you one thing though. I was at Watkins Glen last week. Watkins Glen, New York. It's not too far from where I live. That track, it's fucking magical. People say, why does Watkins Glen sell out every year? Watkins Glen. I was at the Daytona 500 this year, and I was at Watkins Glen. Watkins Glen is almost as good an experience as the Daytona 500. If you get the opportunity in your lifetime to go to Watkins Glen, Fucking go. Fucking go to the fucking go to Watkins Glen if you have the opportunity to. Awesome part of the country. It is in the middle of the sticks. Farms are everywhere. Watkins Glen. I don't care where you live. Make a trip out to Watkins Glen. Put that atop your bucket list because you will have a fucking magical time there. I went to Daytona this year for the Coke. Okay. I was there for the 500. That was your first Cup race? Yeah. First Cup races are magical, man. First Cup races are. I remember my first Cup race at Dover. Jimmy Johnson won. It was a fucking magical race. First Cup races are magical, man. First Cup races are magical. 2 more minutes. Any last questions before I get off? Any last questions before I get off? I got some work to do, and then I got some Army shit I got to do. But any last final words of wisdom before I head off this weekend? Who is your pick? Unfortunately, we won't make it to the end of qualifying. Who is your pick to win this week? Nicholas Steiner. My first Cup race was at Pocono. Okay, I went to Pocono twice this year. Saw Ryan Blaney win, and then saw Kyle Busch win. That Ryan Blaney win was awesome. Brent Tannick's first Cup race was at Kansas. Great fucking race. Pretty much decided the Cup championship. Yeah, that was a good. I remember that race. I remember that fucking race. That race was awesome. That race was awesome. I've never been to Kansas, but I heard it's a fun time. I wouldn't mind getting down to Kansas. I really want to go to Texas. I really want to go to Bristol, Texas, and Talladega. And I really want to go to Richmond, which I'm going to go to Richmond this year. So I'm going to be heading down to Richmond in about a month's time. Again, not too far from where I live. I'm very fortunate because I live an hour and a half from Pocono, 2 hours from Dover, 4 hours from Watkins Glen, and 5 hours from Richmond. So I can do them all in a day. Just fucking drive down and, watch the race and then drive back home. Don't have to stay overnight or anything like that. And I can Texas, my home track. Oh, yeah, fuck yeah, Joe. Maybe I'll be down there one year. I'm going to try and make a trip down to Texas. Maybe we'll link up or something. That'd be cool. Sal Brent Hannick's in Texas too. Maybe we'll have a fucking tailgate. Be a fucking awesome ass time, man. That'd be fucking awesome. Brent Tannick, Joe. That'd be cool as shit. That would be cool as fuck. If people from this channel and this chat room all just met up at a race and we had a big ass fucking tailgate. That would just be fucking awesome. If we all just met up at a racetrack, don't matter what racetrack it is, could even be like a World of Outlaws track. All just meet up and fucking just party to fucking that would be the best. Going to the fall race for the chase. Shit, I'm in El Paso. Phoenix is closer. Yeah, yep. I wouldn't mind going to Phoenix either, man. Honestly, all these tracks are fucking awesome. El Paso, Phoenix is closer. Shit, go to both. Go to both, Brent Hannick. Go to both races. Cross a couple states and head over to Talladega, Brent Hannick. Just hop in your car and that's what I do. I don't care. I just drop everything. I just hop in the car and just drive. I don't care how many hours it is. I just drive. Drive until I can't drive no more. End up at the racetrack. Start tailgating. Start drinking a couple beers, man. It's fucking awesome. That would be cool, but the only tracks I could do is Daytona or Homestead. I went to the 500 this year. I'll meet you up at Daytona. I'm going to Phoenix in November. So damn, like I said, that's gonna be a fucking amazing race, man. I'm calling it now, Brent Tannick. That Phoenix race could decide this championship. The race right before Homestead, that's gonna be a fucking incredible race. Any race, because I've been to those Dover races where it's the cutoff before the second round. Those cutoff races are fucking amazing because you have a handful of guys that are going to do whatever it takes to push the limit. You could see a fight. You could see anything. So I'm jealous of that one, man. I'm jealous of that one. But I'm going to Richmond, which is the cutoff of the regular season. And then Dover is like an hour away from where I live. So I'll be at Dover. That's the cutoff for the first round. So you don't know what's going to happen in those cutoff races. Those cutoff races are fucking amazing to attend because everyone – and Phoenix sells out. Phoenix is one of those tracks. Daytona, Phoenix, and Watkins Glen are the three tracks that typically can come close to selling out. I was at Watkins Glen last week for that sellout. There's nothing like going to a sold-out race. So many passionate fans. There's nothing like going to a sold-out race. So many passionate fans. People are just it's just awesome. Love Austin Dillon's paint scheme this weekend. Yeah. Love those paint schemes, man. Austin Dillon always has some pretty good paint schemes. Pretty nice paint scheme. And look on the right. If you're watching qualifying right now, look at the right of your screen. Look at Trevor Bayne. Who's sponsoring Trevor Bayne? Look at that. Look at who's sponsoring Trevor Bayne. Roush is sponsoring his own fucking car. So not only do we have a driver who's not meeting expectations, we have a race team that isn't meeting expectations, that isn't even coming close to being on the lead lap half our races. We don't have to sponsor that car by ourselves. Now that is embarrassing. At least Martin Truex Jr., his team is sponsoring him, but he's going out there and winning races. Same with Kurt Busch. Kurt Busch can't get a sponsor, but he's winning races still. Like Trevor Bayne, you just like, don't even get me started. 5 more minutes. Come on, Brad Keselowski. Come on, Brad. Push it. Dude, I was at Watkins Glen last week, and I just got to tell you, when Brad Keselowski was trying to push the limit on fuel mileage, I was jumping up and down. I was making such a big fucking scene, like, go, Brad. Let's fucking go. And then he ran out of fuel, and then Ryan Blaney was in the lead. I was like, hey, come on, Ryan Blaney. You're going to fucking win. Go, Ryan Blaney. Then he ran out of fuel, and I'm like, oh, fuck me. Martin Truex Jr. won. I came so close to seeing two of my favorite drivers win, and then all of a sudden the driver I hate the most wins. Dale Earnhardt Jr. It's going to be another bad weekend for Dale Earnhardt Jr. based off this qualifying session. It's sad to see, man. It is sad to see how fucking bad Dale Earnhardt Jr. has been. 19th. Danica Patrick has a better qualifying time than Dale Earnhardt Jr. Don't tell me Dale Earnhardt Jr. is going to win a championship. Danica Patrick has a better qualifying time than Dale Earnhardt Jr. Oh my God, I'm going to have to end the stream on that note. You guys have been fucking awesome. Dale Earnhardt Jr., you just got beat by Danica Patrick. But it's going to be another bad weekend for Dale Earnhardt Jr. All right, I'm going to end it here, guys. Shout out to Nicholas Steiner. Shout out to Redneck Gamers. Shout out to my boy Brent Tannick. Give Brent Tannick a subscribe. Check out the 3 Wide podcast. I'm on his channel from time to time. He's really a good guy. Check out Joe Torres, another good friend of mine. Me and Joe Torres, we go way back. So Joe Torres, awesome. Brent Tannick, Nicholas Steiner, Redneck Gamers. Just thank everyone for checking out the stream today. I'll try and be back sometime next week. JMCM20, Cookie Dough 200, Smokey Bear, Jeff the Pelican, Remington, anyone else who I'm not mentioning. Thank you so much for checking in. We got 8 likes on this video, and we had close to 12 listeners at one time. That's good enough for me. I don't know about you, but that's good enough for me. You guys are fucking awesome. Hopefully I'll be back sometime soon. Thank you guys for checking in. God bless all of you. God bless NASCAR. God bless America. God bless Donald Trump. God bless Joey Logano. God bless Ford F-150s. God bless the United States Army. God bless Camouflage. God bless Miller Lite and Busch Beer. God bless Joe Torres, Brent Tannick, Redneck Gamers, Remington, JMCM20, Cookie Dough 200, whoever else is watching this. I got to thank my sponsors, and that's who I'm thanking. I'll see y'all. Peace out, and have a good night. Go Ryan Blaney. Go Team Penske. And I will see y'all in Victory Lane.